Welcome to the Audacious OBM podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Woff, creator of OBM Academy and founder of Audacious Empires. Each week, my crew and I will explore all things building and scaling an exceptional OBM business. This podcast is here to share how you can charge premium prices, have clients lining up to work with you, and never have to work another weekend again. You can have a thriving OBM business working with the clients you want, when you want, and charging the price you want. It's time to banish mediocre and become the standout, sought-after OBM you know you can be. Hey, lovely. Thanks for joining me today. We are talking launch managing like a boss. The reason that I wanted to talk about launching is because in my communication with online business managers and OBMs in my community, a lot of them fall into launch managing. Or as OBMs, we're looking at different areas we can specialize, and one of those a lot of the time tends to be launching. That's not saying that you have to be a launch manager, but it might be something you're interested in. As a person and as a team at Audacious Empires, something that we do for clients is manage launches. And when I talk about launches, I'm talking about online program launches. So this could be a coaching program, it could be an online course, it could be an online challenge, anything where it is an online paid program or initiative that your client is doing that they primarily build hype around online, and then the program tends to be online as well. Now, with that experience, a lot of knowledge in what works really well in launching and what is needed in a launch manager and what happens when things don't go smoothly, and some of the critical points that you need to look out for. And so today, what I wanted to give you was an overview of what it is launch managing involves. And as an OBM, the different things that you'll likely be responsible for if you choose to go down the launch management pathway. So I've summarized it into 4 key areas to make it super simple for you. The first one is managing the team. The second one is coordinating the tasks. The third is being the keeper of time. And the fourth is being the talent whisperer. So we have team, tasks, time, talent. Love all my T's. So let's get stuck in. The first thing I want to talk to you about is managing the team. As an OBM, if you are launch managing, you are responsible for managing the team, your client's team, and the contractors. Part of the reason that people struggle with launches so much and why there is this context and connotation about launches being stressful, hard, busy, tiring, is because of the sheer volume of people involved and tasks that need to be done, and a condensed timeline. So when we're looking at the team, what are we looking at? Who would be involved in launch? I'm going to go through some of the core people that usually you'll come across if you're managing a launch. The first one is a copywriter. Launches are renowned for needing a lot of copy. So either your client is going to be writing a lot of copy, you're going to be writing a lot of copy if you've specialized in copywriting, or your client will have a copywriter. This is the person that will then write all of the emails, the sales page, the social posts. There is a lot of copy and concepting that goes into launching. And so it's your job to make sure that they have all of the core messaging, the tone of voice, the right style, everything they need to be able to go and write good copy in an adequate time frame. So there will be a lot of back and forth around copy because we have to do a draft, then the draft gets reviewed, then it goes back, then edits are made, then it gets approved, then we do something with it. So copywriters are really important in launching. So you might see them popping up. The next person you might manage is a designer. Along with lots of copy, we have design assets. Where is the copy going? Is it in an email? Who designed the assets for the email? Is it on social media? Who's creating the graphics for that? Is it on your sales page? Who is designing that page out? So there can be a few design assets happening as well. And your designer is usually the person that's doing that. Unless, as an OBM, your jam is Canva or using the Adobe suite or other tools to create amazing design. It's never been one of my strengths, so it's not something that I offer. Sure, I can take a Canva template and I can replicate it and I can repurpose things, but I'm not a designer at core. So that's someone else that you'll need to manage and brief and make sure that they understand the vision for the launch. The next team member is an ads manager. So this is where if your client is paying for an ads consultant to come in and to support them with paid marketing. So this could be Facebook ads, it could be Google ads, it could be TikTok ads, any kind of paid advertising. And it's your job to meet with the ads person to find out what they need from you, from the client, help them understand the concept of the launch, your audience that you're marketing to, and get them what they need. It's also then making sure that they're doing the things that they've said they're going to do and feeding all this info back to your client. The next one is an assistant. Now, this person might be an employee, it might be you, or it might be a general admin VA. This is the person that would then be doing things like scheduling social media posts or replying to a generic email inbox that you have for your audience to respond to, or coding emails. So there's lots of things that an all-rounder can support you with in a launch. And that might be someone that you need to work quite closely with because there are lots of little bits and pieces that need to be done every day, even if it is going and checking our marketing metrics and then updating our data so that we can look at the results and make decisions based on that. The next one is a web developer. Now, the degree to which your client uses a web developer in a launch is varying dependent on if it's the first launch, if it's the 50th launch, if you're launching a new thing or an old thing. A lot of the time, if we're relaunching something, so it's a course that we've launched before, we might not need a developer because we have the assets already. So they're already built. A majority of the time, if we're relaunching something that has been working, we don't need to make a lot of core changes to our website or our code. We can just update what we've already got, and that's fairly easy if it's just things like the copy. A web developer we may need or we may not need, dependent on the systems that we're using and how complex they are. And then the last one that I wanted to mention was a marketer. If your client is not great at marketing, they might have some kind of marketing consultant on their team or a content creator or content manager who is going to do all of the marketing concepts for this launch and really work out what it is we need to be doing to present our offer and our message to our audience so that it connects, and then how we roll all of that out. So it's that marketing strategist that you might be working with as well. All right. Then let's move to coordinating the tasks. So we have our core team, and you are the go-to for that core team. So you're managing all the people, and they know that you're the main point of contact. The next thing is looking at all of the things that need to be done for this launch, and then breaking them down into tasks with detailed briefs in a way that everybody can understand what they need to do, when they need to do it by, and what the expected outcome is. I just wanted to share with you some main task types that you might come across when you're launching, because I think if you haven't been involved in a launch before, this will give you a really good overview. The first one is pre-launch events and list building. When we're in launch mode, we know we want to build our email list. We want to get the attention of more people so that then we're connecting with them and able to sell to them when we open our product for sale. The ways that we can do that are in a pre-launch event, which could be a webinar or a masterclass or a challenge, some kind of marketing tool we can use to give our audience something to say, hey, this is what I'm about. This is for you. Come and get it. Join my list. And then you're collecting email addresses to then later be able to sell to what are hopefully warm leads. If they come to your pre-launch event, we've warmed them up. We've given them something already. They know the kind of person you are, your client is, and if they like the way that they speak and if they find them easy to listen to and potentially learn from. So during this pre-launch phase, you would be doing things like setting up tasks for this event. That might be landing pages, forms. It might be connecting systems together. It might be coordinating the designer and the copywriter to provide the assets to get what we need to market these things. So there's some of the tasks. There's a big piece around that pre-launch phase, marketing, building our list, and making sure we have all of the assets coming in at the right time. The next thing is sales pages and checkout. The purpose of any launch is to sell something at the end. I've never worked with anybody who hasn't wanted to sell something at the end of a launch. And to do that, we need a way to communicate what we're selling and then take money from people. And that's where our sales pages come in, our thank you pages, our cart, so our online payment options. And there needs to be somebody who is helping the team create these assets. That someone is you. It's your job to break those tasks down and to be briefing them out. So to say to a copywriter, I need a sales page, that's not going to get you very far. It's not detailed enough. So we need to be able to break down the task of create a sales page into smaller tasks and assign them to the right people. You might have a detailed brief for the copywriter about what the sales page is for, who the audience is, what we're looking at for this page, so they can write the copy. Then you might brief the designer and explain similar things, but in terms of the design assets needed. And maybe you want them to do a layout of the sales page first, and then need them to create some assets that go with that sales page. And then you might need to take the copy and the design once they're approved and give it to the web developer and say to the web developer, hey, can you please go and build this page on this website? And you would be coordinating all of that. The next big task that you might be overseeing is social media marketing and emails. If we're online launching, generally we are doing that on some kind of social media platform and potentially multiple platforms. And so you might be looking at your entire launch calendar and working with the assistant or with the marketing consultant, coordinating copy, designer, getting posts scheduled on time, making sure they're actually going out to make sure that we're talking about our launch and our offer in the right places at the right time. You would be heavily involved in making sure that's all running smoothly and that everybody knows where it's up to and when they need to do their bit, and then checking that they're doing it. The next bit is customer support. A lot of the time as online business managers, we do have an inbox we have access to. And sometimes it is our role to support the customers on the other end of that inbox. So if people are, say, trying to sign up to our pre-launch event or want our freebie or want to purchase our product, but they can't, they're going to email this inbox, and it might be our job to then monitor that or make sure that the person monitoring that is getting back to people and they're getting the answers they need. It's also looking across at customer access, making sure that people get the things that we've promised them when we've promised it to them, and then connecting with those people during marketing phases. So maybe we're sending people DMs. Who is it that's making sure that we're sending the right people the messages that we need? Who is it that is coordinating the templates that get used? All of that is going to be you. Then the last task area that I wanted to cover was the tech integration and troubleshooting. Something that tends to happen in launching is we use a lot of different pieces of technology. So whether it's a webinar platform, it's a form platform, it's your website, it's your course platform, it's your social media scheduling tool. There's lots of different technical components that come into it and different tools. And the more tools that we have and the more things that we have happening, the more likely it is that something will go wrong, because we need all of these tools to be talking to each other and working together seamlessly for it to be smooth. But the more that we have and the more that we're using them, just the chances are that it goes up. So that's why it's really important that we're testing things along the way. Are we testing that sign up form? Are we testing the emails that are going out? Are we making sure that the links work? Because if something is broken, the likelihood is you'll be involved in fixing it, because you know how all the pieces fit together, because you've been coordinating all the tasks to get those pieces live. So that's something else that you'll be involved in. And then we want to move to the next one of our core roles as an OBM launch manager, and that is being the keeper of time. So once we know what has to be done, we need a way to make sure it's getting done on time and with enough space. When we're looking at a launch timeline, we need to be looking at the flow of things, especially when there are some people that are going to be expected to do a lot of big chunky things in a short period and then nothing. For instance, writing copy, all the copy needs to get done up front because the pages can't get built, the emails can't get sent until that copy is done. For our copywriter, that's a lot of stuff. And we need to be able to brief them with heaps of time in advance and let them know when the next pieces are coming so that they can schedule appropriately. It also means that we need to make sure we're briefing them really well so that they can measure how much time they're going to need to set aside to do it so that it doesn't snowball. Because if the copy is late, then the design is late. And if the design and the copy are late, then getting the page live is late, and it all flows on and we end up with a mess. And so it's really important that we look at the progression of how things flow from one thing to the next based on all the different people that need to be doing things. It's looking at the timeline. So if we know we're launching on a certain date or opening cart on a certain date, when does all the marketing need to start? And if all the marketing needs to start, then when does all the marketing assets need to get prepared and ready? And what tasks depend on each other? Like I said before, if we're building a sales page, we need copy and design assets before the page can get built. So there's no point in me briefing the web developer first if I haven't even spoken to the copywriter and the designer. And so we look at the dependencies and then we match that to the timeline as well. And we want to try and give everyone as much communication and notice in advance. We also want to build in a buffer of time because notoriously, people take longer to do things than they anticipate. What we don't want to happen is that everyone is working down to the wire so that then when one little thing goes over, everything is behind. And then it's your job to get it back on track. And that can be really stressful. So building in as much communication in advance and giving everyone heaps of notice about how things are tracking and when they're going to be needed so that then things can run smoothly. And the last role that you will be participating in as a launch manager is being the talent whisperer. So you'll notice I haven't spoken much about your client in this episode. And the reason is they might be involved in all of the previous things in some capacity, but they needed their own spot, which is why I call them the talent. People who do launches, a lot of the time they have brands, personal brands, and they're really invested in their businesses and what they're selling. And so they are the talent and you are the whisperer. It is your job to keep a calm mindset and to be able to hand that mindset over to your client. Because if this is our business baby, we're invested in the results. And launches can be quite stressful and they can be really challenging for our clients as they move through this emotional roller coaster that comes with launching. And I've seen people who have launched the same program 20 times and they still follow this same pattern. And I don't know if they realize it or not, but every time I see it, and there's excitement and there's panic and there's worry and there's victory and appreciation, it's up and down and up and down. And that's just the nature of the beast. It is because we have put in all of this effort and this energy into something that we want to see succeed. And really, we don't know if it will until the day sales close. And so we need to understand as OBMs and launch managers that as we get closer to the critical points in our launch, so getting closer to cart opening, getting closer to sales closing, the anticipation increases and our talent, our wonderful clients, can feel the weight of that anticipation. Sometimes they can get quite stressed, and it is our job to help them stay calm. And we have to look at things through a level-headed, logical lens. If they're panicking about whether they've done enough marketing, honestly, if you're in the middle of a launch and you're worried if you've done enough marketing, it's too late to do anything about it. In launching, we set everything up as best as we can. We get it done, we get it out, but you can't change the results drastically in the middle of it. You can collect all the information, you can learn lessons, and you can change it for next time. But if you're halfway through and there are no sales and you're gutted, it doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to be able to go from 0 sales to 1,000 in 2 days. And so it's our jobs to help see the logic and reason and help anchor the reality and impact of things with our clients. And that is we already planned what we needed to do. And we've done all of these things. And so now we have to wait and we'll see if it's been enough. And if it hasn't, next time we'll do more. But hopefully all the things that we thought of that we thought were great ideas will pay off. That's what we need to bank on. And there's no point getting too stressed about it now because there's not much we can do about it. And so it's just coming with that calm approach. And if something breaks, the tech isn't working, it's your job to say, it's okay. We'll find a solution very quickly and implement that solution. It's not going to break the whole world. We'll just do it a different way right now. Is it ideal? No, but it's not going to ruin everything. Your reputation is good. People are still here asking to buy the thing, which is amazing. Let's just find a way to let them do that. And so it is your job to be able to see things clearly and not have your emotions blinded with anticipation, because that's your client's job. Their client is Their job is to be that connected with their audience and that connected with their business. It's your job to be the anchor and to be able to gently help them through that roller coaster. I hope that this has given you a really solid overview of the different things that are involved in launching online and how to help your clients if this is something you're doing. I hope that it's given you a little bit of insight into whether you might want to go down the path of learning more about launching and some of the things that you can do as an OBM to make it a really, really great experience and make the launches happen smoothly. And if you want to learn more about being a launch manager and how you can really launch manage like a boss, I've actually created a masterclass on this and a whole suite of templates that I use with my clients every day that cover exactly what you need as a launch manager to do this seamlessly. If that's something that you're interested in, I'll pop the link in the show notes, but just head over to leannewoff.com/launch management and you'll be able to see all of the info there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this has given you everything you need to put your launch management pants on. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me at Leanne Woff. You'll find me. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of The Audacious OBM. We hope this episode has helped you move forward in your journey to being a standout and sought after OBM. If you enjoyed the episode, take a second to rate and review. Each review helps us to help other OBMs just like you. If you're interested in learning more about OBM Academy and all that it offers, head over to audaciousempires.com to get all the juicy details. We'll be back next week.